Hello and welcome back to the Modern Leader Way, where I'm joined by the lovely Julie Williams today. Hello, Julie.
Hello.
So happy to have this very special guest on because, as you're going to hear, Julie and I only met this summer actually on a retreat, but we have some exciting plans that we are cooking up behind the scenes. And I wanted to invite her on at this point as I'm helping her behind the scenes to shift from having a very successful offline business to bringing some of those services online. And we shall get so far, I think, today, and then we'll probably have a follow up conversation when our plans transpire a little bit further down the line. But why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about who's Julie, where are you in the world, and what it is that you do with your work?
Oh, it's so lovely to be here. So lovely to be on here. So I feel privileged to have met you in this retreat earlier on in the year. It was just great because I think we just sort of aligned, as you said, straight away. So I'm based in Cardiff, as you know, and I've been a business consultant now for 30 odd years, predominantly working with troubled and growth businesses. I tend to work with businesses that sort of just need a little bit of help and they need the hand holding. I always say that business owners love what they do, the actual operations, but they hate the business kind of stuff. And we're not just the finances and the VAT returns. I mean the whole of the business things. So I am almost like your right hand man for or right hand woman, should I say, for the last few years. So it's like a outsourced CFO role where I work alongside somebody in relation to whatever it is they need. Very often is that the problems they have is, things like money management, cash flows, those kind of things, and trying to facilitate certain things that they need to do. So that's really my key job is right, what is it this business needs? I'm very good at identifying the problem. So,
Hmm.
which is good. But yeah, been doing it a long
Yeah.
time.
And what I know of you from what little time we've known each other, it does feel like we've known each other for a lot
It
longer,
does,
doesn't it?
yeah.
Is that you just so you have this way of just making it feel like it's not as big a deal. Like whatever this problem is, you
Yeah.
have this beautiful way of just like, mm-hmm, and we'll deal with it. And it's kind of like it's this like you kind of wrap it up in this like warm hug and say it's okay, come here, we're gonna sort this out without saying it that way. So I love that about you, and I'm sure that's why you've been very successful and people have you back, like companies have you back all the time,
Yeah.
like to sort of plug that gap and play that role for them. So what are some of the like common things that you do? I mean, I'm guessing you don't have a typical day in the life of Julie, but
Oh my gosh, I wish. Sometimes I think, oh, wouldn't it be nice to just go and, just stack shelves or whatever it is for a little while? But no, I think the biggest thing, and do you know what? You've sort of summed it up there, really, because sometimes I have to deliver really difficult messages, but it's the way that you deliver them. You can deliver messages with diplomacy, and that's how I work. And the fact is that, especially when it's to do with money and cash flows and stuff with business, and I'm talking like small business owners and much larger businesses as well, is that obviously there isn't a typical day, but the biggest thing is very often is somebody will think, oh my gosh, I've got all these problems. And then when I review their business, actually they're the easy fixes. There are other things underlying that, that we can identify and say, well, look, they're the easy. But I don't really I don't like saying this, but I don't really sweat the small stuff either. I mean, I came home from holidays last week to a problem at home, and I was really frustrated, felt really, sort of, oh, for a day. And then I thought, do you know what? It's just a household item. Don't worry
mm,
about it. So after feeling that little bit of emotion for a short period, then I thought, well, it is just that. So I'm pretty good at always putting the spin of what's the worst that can happen or what's the worst. And even when we need to deal with really difficult conversations where businesses are folded and it's the right thing because businesses are insolvent, it's about making them understand actually this is the best thing for them and their mental health and their families. And because that has happened as well, I have come across businesses where we're already past recovering, But, the growth thing is what I like more than anything. I do love being able to, most of my clients will always say to me, oh, here she goes, uncontrolled growth. But that's huge for me. I don't want anybody to grow uncontrollably because that's when they hit the issues. So
Mm.
yeah, it's about having a little bit control of your business.
Hmm. And I guess so going back to this like diplomatic approach, I would add in that you are very compassionate as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's something perhaps that businesses don't necessarily aren't used to, right? They don't necessarily
So
receive that from their consultants or from their
No, the
outsourced.
empathy, yeah. I do feel
Yeah.
part of the business. So most of my clients, I feel part of their business. I want them to succeed. I want people to go and make these huge empires or whatever it is they go on. I really, really want people to do that. It's never if I'm honest, I don't. Me and my friends always says I don't have a jealous bone in my body. I literally want people to succeed, whether that's again small business or larger business owners. I want them, and I want them to sort of lead the path for them if I can, of just my experience,
Mm,
just my experience of saying, right, okay, let's try a bit of a different way. It doesn't mean that it needs to be, look, I know I'm not that consultant who goes in and this is what we're going to do, and there's one way. I want to brainstorm with somebody. I want to brainstorm. I want to understand about their business, and I want to feel part of it. I want to feel part of their journey, and then celebrate their success at the end.
mm,
That's just my natural personality.
very collaborative.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So how did you get into this kind of work? So you've been doing it for 30 years, but where did it all start?
I was really lucky as a really early starting. So obviously I didn't go to uni and I started my first job at 17, but I was really lucky. I had wonderful employers with a fantastic culture. And at that time, it was, I've talked about this before on a podcast where it was the boom where we learned we were buying in, we were acquiring companies. So there was huge growth through acquisition. We were having intercompanies. We were global trading. So I learned quite a lot in an industry rather than global, rather than in a corporate environment.
Mhm.
And that was really nice because it's very different culture changes in between the industry and corporate, as we both know. We've discussed that, but I was really lucky that they taught me everything. And I always feel privileged again that they trusted me to teach me stuff and
Mm,
teach me sort of the right way to do things because especially in my industry, I see so many people who um, don't do this the right way. It's almost like I said, there's a one way approach, a real cookie cutter approach to staff, and that's not how it should be.
mm,
Because also all clients are different. All clients are different in the fact that when you're dealing with people, people are different, so you have to deal with people in different ways. But I do think I have a unique way of wanting to, and I recognize this in other people, and I really like this in other people. And I think this is part of where we connected and what we like is that the CEO is important of the business, but so is the cleaner. The
mm,
clean, no, they make the environment that we work in clean. So
mhm,
the idea is I will give everybody my time because they're still doing a job, so it's irrelevant whether they're earning 150 grand a year or on 12.21 an hour, I do want everyone to feel good about themselves.
mm. Yeah, I definitely get that from you. And I feel like this is where, when I talk about the modern lead her way, it is basically your way
Yeah,
as is my way. Like my way is the modern leader way, and it's not necessarily the way I was modeled it,
no,
taught how to do it, or like saw it happen, right? It's like me actually finding my most natural nature and letting that come out through my role, whatever
yeah,
it is that I'm doing. And I think that's what you have been talking about so far is like your way is
yeah,
the empathetic way, empathic way,
yeah, that's right.
compassion and the care for all, and also this very collaborative approach. So I think that just drawing out some of the kind of qualities that you've highlighted there in terms of like what your way is. Um, So plans for going online. So I know you've been like immersing yourself in the online business world for the last few years now, and you are very well networked and very well loved within your network. And so what are the plans for you taking some of your offline skills sets and the way you work into an online model?
I think obviously COVID made a big change for different people. I've seen that in my industry where, I actually fell into sort of exit planning in the fact that people, wanted to exit their businesses and different stuff. And it's almost like, and came into the online space with, I mean, you've really helped me with understand different things and of how systems work in the online space. One of the things I've shared with you is being time poor. And, I think I always feel if I had more time, I would be able to do this stuff. However, I'm also wary that people can do it better than you can. So I would always go and look for that expert because we only know what we know, right? You know what I mean? We only know what we know. So finding that expert who can help you to do things is really important. And as you say about collaboration, I love collaboration. I feel really, and I am going to plug it, but I am feel really proud to have been, a president for 3 years of a UK network and taking it to number one in the UK.
Mm,
But it's not just about me, it's about the teamwork that you do. So in the online space, I think that people lack confidence a little bit in the online space. There's a little bit of, they're not quite sure of, and also it's it's very noisy. Let's be honest, it's very noisy in the when we're in an offline environment, well, obviously we can choose our clients anywhere, but we get to choose the people that we want to work with because we have a personal approach with people. And but in the online space, you're getting to know people. So what I've sort of done is that I feel like I've done it the right way in a way, really, because what I've done is sort of parked selling loads of stuff to people
mm,
and literally just networked for the last
yeah.
few years. And I've just really enjoyed networking, getting to know people and understanding that really, so business is business, right? Business is business, whether it's online or offline, it doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
I mean, what I have found is that there are things that don't get delivered in the online space where people call out different things and, people I mean, will charge more sometimes in the online space for different work. And it just amazes me of some things that are I'd really like to be amongst the people, and I've tried to find this really well, be amongst the people within the online space to make a difference
Mm,
in the online space because they aren't all charging loads of money and not delivering. There are some amazing coaches and stuff out there in the online field, and I actually have worked with some incredible people in the online space where they've literally, sort of made me check in on my own mindset. We're talking, things where they plug the gaps for my knowledge. So
mhm.
I didn't even know what, if I'm honest with you, two years ago, I didn't even know what a product suite was. I'm like, what is this product suite thing? Because it's
Lead
not something.
magnet or
Yeah,
something.
exactly,
Bubble.
and actually, it's been really exciting learning the different stuff. And now I'm feeling, I'm getting it now. And actually, there are so many people who need the skills that you, because all I feel, especially coming from starting my business early doors as a direct selling world, our skills are transferable. Our skills are transferable. And as I said, we only know what we know. So the idea is finding the right people. And I do think the online space needs more consultants and coaches who have the qualities that I want to show as in empathy and compassion. It isn't about just buy my program or just buy this thing for that. And there isn't any thought behind that, what you want from it at the end. I was asked today, how long will I be able to, as a mentor? Because, I've been mentored for business in Wales for a few years and almost like, if you were mentoring, what how long will you get? Well, you get me, but I'm not going away. You still can send me a message and my WhatsApp is still there. And I think that's the thing I'd like to be shouting out more about the on that really we can be as good as the offline space is.
Mhm.
We can be. That it's not all full of because there's just a very small number of people. I think that are highly successful in the online world.
Mm.
But I think it's because, but I believe because it's saturated, people think, oh, I can do this. This is easy. And actually, they're not bringing the transferable skills
Mhm.
that they need from business. They, think, "Well, okay, I can set this up. I'll create a lead magnets, get a few clients. And actually, we all know the place is changing. People are becoming far more shrewder than they ever were about passing giving you their email addresses and stuff.
Yeah.
They're far more wary. So yeah, I just want to sort of plug that gap and to
Yeah.
say that you can bring those transferable skills into this business, particularly around money management and all those kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Huge. I'm looking forward to that. So I got a podcast, which again is launching this quarter. So that's really nice. I'm really looking forward to launching that this autumn. So
Yeah.
that'll be fun.
Yeah. And I think the thing that I know you and I are really aligned in as well is like this authenticity piece around like whatever it is that you decide to do it as you, do it in your
Yeah.
way as you, and then
Yeah.
that's going to require a little like leg up every now and again to be a bit brave and courageous to put yourself out there
Yeah.
online because that's oftentimes the differentiating piece is it's not just networking in your circles in person, but it is actually putting yourself out on social media or on like LinkedIn, for example.
Yeah. It's
And
scary.
and it's scary.
Yeah, it is. It is scary. I know that, people, and do you know what the biggest thing I think about online, and this is the big thing, is that people say, oh, you need to do this. You need to be on Twitter. You need to be on TikTok. You need to do all this. But actually, you don't. You need sometimes to simplify things. People overcomplicate stuff. And it's like that in the outside world sometimes, I see it a lot in offline. A lot of the businesses I work for is that they overcomplicate stuff when they grow in. But in the online space, very much so is that we need to be on all these different platforms. We need to be putting ourselves out there every single day. And actually, I think I've proved that you really don't. You
Mm,
don't. What people want is that when they're looking for you, I want them to be when I don't want them to have an email off me every day. I want them to have the email and think, oh, it's Julie, I want to read it.
mm,
That's what I want.
yeah.
And I think that is you're coming with a message of like, and it is different to what lots of other coaches tell you, but idea is I suppose, I'm more of a consultant than a coach anyway. I want to do it with you. I want to do this journey with you. I want to be able to do it what you want to do and say that's okay. Because the problem is we have like, okay, this is what you need to do. And that's okay to have a step. It's good to have a model and a method. However, your USP, the what you bring to it is the most important thing. It's the most important thing for people to want to deal with you. And they want to be able to, there's only two things that I always ask for when I'm dealing with people, and that's trust and transparency. I just want those two things,
Mhm.
trust and transparency. Everything else will fall into place,
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to working more in the online space, doing some programs and different things of my own that I know business owners need. I
Mm.
know they need.
And that's very like there's loads of stuff coming, which is super exciting, which is why I said we'll have another
Yeah, good.
conversation when we can share more on that. But right now, actually, timing wise, is perfect because you are promoting a course at the moment. Do you want to talk about the certified business strategist?
Yeah, I am really excited. So 2 years ago, I became a certified strategist, and it was really weird because I've been doing this stuff for like 30 odd years. What it did for me was brought some structure into what I was doing. Sometimes we don't grow our businesses because the foundations aren't there. You know what I mean? People are afraid to employ people or whatever it is that it is holding you back. But when I did the certified strategist course, it actually helped me gave some structure into what I do. I knew about like SWOT analysis and steeple analysis and all those kind of things from doing funding, from coming from a little bit of a banking background. I knew a lot about this kind of stuff anyway, but actually it just doing this CBS, which was the course, it gave me a proper methodology of like planning, developing, and executing. And I will always work on goal setting where I'll always like, right, okay, where do we want to be? And then we're going to just reverse engineer how we're going to get there. But it's really interesting to have this model into how we're going to do it because also it is, we've spoke previously about culture being everything. Strategy is so important, but culture is absolutely everything. And when you have the strategy in place, you can develop that into the culture of your organization. So it's all about your behaviors, isn't it? At the
Mhm.
end of the day, I'm behaving in a certain ways, so my people will want to deal with me from a customer perspective, and what it's whether it's dealing with integrity or whatever it is that, your behaviors and your values are, but it's almost making sure they are rolled down to your team. So your team are behaving because actually they're part of your business. So you all need to be aligned.
Mhm.
This is why you and I sort of hit it off because we're aligned in relation to our values are authenticity. I don't want somebody to try and be somebody else because normally it stands out a mile. If
Mhm.
you try and behave like somebody else that's taught you, it stands out a mile. If you're just being yourself, whether it be like a really strong Welsh
Mhm.
accent or whatever it is, people will resonate with that because they just want to be themselves. And I think we need to encourage that more. We
Mhm.
need to encourage that. And I think the strategy course just gives us for me, especially delivering it, I mean, obviously you're part of my team delivering this with me and supporting these people because actually I know that together we've got, the skill set that we can help these people achieve what it is they want to achieve. And I'm really excited about that. Really
Yeah.
excited. It's going to be good.
So the certified business strategist is really for anyone that wants to get better at being a strategist themselves for their own business or in their own like work that they're doing.
Yeah,
And also if they want to help others with their strategy, right? So
absolutely.
consult with that. So doors are open to this right now.
Yeah,
There is a very short window, it closes on the 6th of October. Um, and then if someone is listening to this further down the line, the chances are it will be open again. So we'll
yeah.
make sure your links and everything are included in the show notes so that if you are interested in this and learning more, you can reach out to Julie in that way. Is there anything else you want to say about that before we close?
I think the other thing, like you hit it on the nail, you hit the nail on the head, really. You can either use it for your own business. I mean, you can use it. So we do because you become certified. This course isn't simple, right? It literally is not, it's not a simple or like it literally, that's why it has a 65-point CPD as a accreditation around it. It does give you credibility to be able to understand what you're doing because
Mhm.
of, like I said, it's that structure. But also what I've done when I've done it, it's not about just becoming a certified strategist because you can do that, but also you can add it to your current business. So this is exactly what I've done is I already had a business model and I've just added my accreditation and what I do into this. So
Mhm.
it's almost added value for my clients. So whether that means that I can charge more prices or whatever it is that you want to do, but it's almost like the three ways. You're doing it for yourself, you're doing it on its own, or you're adding it to something that's existing.
Mhm.
And I think that's what people sort of need to understand. Actually, you might not want to be a certified strategist, but imagine how much credibility it does give you in relation to the clients that you're dealing with now,
Yeah.
because they're going to want to deal with, somebody who actually knows what they're doing. And that's why it makes you stand out in a crowd. So, yeah, I'm really excited. We've got a week to
Mhm.
go now. And yeah, it's had some really good interest. So it should be good fun.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm just thinking back to when I got my last role I took on as head of operations, and then my MD just said to me, "Your strategy and operations now," and I was like, "Okay." I need to go on a strategy course. And it's
Yeah,
like, it's that kind of thing. I can see people sat in their corporate jobs actually going, oh, this actually might benefit me too. And it might well benefit you if you're also thinking about potentially leaving your corporate job one day to
absolutely.
do your own thing. So give you that instant credibility. Coming from a strategic corporate background into this kind of role is kind of a
Absolutely.
done deal almost. So
Yeah. It's good.
yeah. Well, Julie, thank you for coming on
Thanks
and
for having me.
sharing your brilliance with us. And like I said, there's more to be seen from the pair of us moving forward. So
Very excited.
stay tuned for the next installment. But until next time, take care and we'll speak to you then. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.